So how do you start investing in the stock market in Singapore? First thing first, you gotta understand what is your investing goal. Because your goal is going to determine whether you invest in value stocks, growth stocks, or dividend stocks. Now, to put in simple terms, if you don't know anything about stock market, value stocks are basically undervalued stocks, meaning stocks that are cheaper than its real value or intrinsic value. Whereas for growth stocks, investors don't really care about the fact that it's undervalued. They would buy high, sell higher, okay? Which is more risky for beginner investors. So try not to think about that for now if you're a beginner. If you're investing for retirement, you're more conservative, then you should pick dividend stocks. So you see how important it is to determine your goals first. Because most investors, how do they buy stocks? What stock you recommend? No matter who, taxi driver, the coffee shop uncle, buy this stock, Then they are going to buy. More than half of the beginner investors invest like this. If you want to become the top 10% of investors, then I'll give you more tips in this video, okay? Aside from knowing what's your investing goal, next thing you understand is your risk appetite. Because if your risk appetite is more conservative, then you would try to go for the dividend stocks, the one that pays you dividends. It's like interest, okay? If you don't know what dividends are, it's like you buy something and then it pays you interest again and again and again. If you're more conservative, you go for that. And also, when you're more conservative, you would go for large cap stocks, meaning like big companies, established companies. So these companies, they would fluctuate less, they are less volatile, but they are safer. Okay, so you go for the large companies. If you're more of a risk taker, then you will go for the small cap, meaning the smaller companies, because the smaller they are, then they have more room for growth. Or the mid cap stocks, meaning the medium-sized companies. But understand that small cap stocks, they normally don't pay dividends, because normally companies who are growing, their priority would be putting their profits back into the business so that they can grow it, and hence you can only earn by capital gain, meaning price from here goes up, then you earn money. Whereas for large cap stocks, normally they'll pay you regular interest, meaning dividends. So you can understand risk appetite, your goals. Are you investing for retirement? Do you just want to add an additional source of income? Or do you want to invest so they can pay for college? Determine all these factors first, okay? Please put in the foundation work. Please put in the foundational work. I can tell you, most people skip all these boring processes, then they lose money in the stock market. Do what other investors are not willing to do. Those who lose money. Again, this next step is something that most investors would skip. So I buy books every month, invested $60,000 to learn about the financial markets. Of course, it includes my finance degree from NTU. I specialize in banking and finance, which taught me a lot about how to analyze stocks, currencies, derivatives. I also bought a lot of courses during my time in uni, but also after graduating. Even until today, I still keep myself updated and read at least 4 hours every single day. Way too many people, they don't even care to bother about studying stock market books, investing books, and they just jump into it. They want to make quick money, quick bucks. Now here's the thing, you are living in Singapore, not some isolated island. If you're living in some isolated island or planet, then I would say, you know what, it's okay. If you lose money, it's not your fault. But you're living in Singapore, where there are so many resources, seminars, courses where people teach proper stock investing skills that a lot of other neighboring countries don't have. Second thing, there are so many bookstores that I can't even count with my fingers, and each of those bookstores, they have investing book, stock market book. Even if you don't spend any money on these things, there are so many trading conferences, financial conferences in Singapore. It's a financial hub, and you're not taking full advantage of it. A lot of times I will go to Malaysia. Of course, they have a lot of resources too, but people are hungry, super hungry to learn. So, you know, sometimes when you have too many things, a lot of times you take things for granted. Of course, sometimes I feel that way too. But then, you're in a position where you're so damn lucky, but you see so many people complaining every single day. Why does the train break down all the time? You go to a nearby country, try living there for 2 weeks. There's no train, no buses. Then you come back to Singapore and be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry for being this ungrateful piece of shit. Travel more, okay? If you don't like Singapore, travel more. Because every single day I see people complaining about Singapore. This is not good, that not good. Travel. Of course, Karen, you are saying this. Buy courses because you sell courses. As of the making of this video, all my stock market courses are free on YouTube. So far. Maybe it might change in the future, okay? But you know what? People don't value free stuff based on my experience, so make the most out of it, okay? I have free value investing course, I have free stock market course, stock trading course on my YouTube, okay? And the next thing is open a brokerage account with a proper broker. So for Singapore, open a brokerage account with an MAS regulated broker, okay? Because it's so hard to get regulated by MAS. So when they do, you know that your funds are more or less safe. But of course, there are no guarantees in this world, okay? Because there's a certain institution, let's not mention who or what, bought a lot of shares from a certain trading instrument and then messed up, lost everything. So this shows that even for institutions, you cannot entirely rely on them. But with MAS regulated brokers so far, I've been using them. All good so far. Nowadays, a lot of stockbrokers, they allow you to trade demo. So you can practice investing in a virtual demo account. Then practice for at least 6 months, okay? At least 6 months. Prove to yourself that you can pick good stocks. Then you start a live account. Now the thing is, if you have no time to study the stock market, which I understand because some of you working full-time, studying part-time, gotta take care of the kids too, then you got no time to study. So for people who have no time to study the stock market, you can invest into ETFs. So the Singapore stock market STI ETF, it doesn't go up as much as compared to S&P in the US. So if you want a stable, good return in the long term, not in the short term, then you can consider the US stock market, okay? Because for Singapore, to invest, you gotta buy at least 100 shares. Whereas for US, you can only buy 1 share. Some brokers allow you to buy fractional shares. And some more US stocks, there are a lot more options. Then if you really want to invest in Singapore stocks, you can just invest into Singapore stocks to get dividend payments, okay? Then for ETFs, what you can implement is DCA, dollar cost averaging. Basically, you invest into the stock market in various levels. As the price goes down, you buy a portion. Price goes down again, you buy a portion. Nobody can predict where the market is going to U-turn when the stock market goes down, including me. The best we can do is to invest based on probability, okay? Now, to increase your probability of making money in the stock market, the next step is very important. That is to do your research. You'll be surprised to know that a lot of people, they just buy a stock, treating it like it's a symbol on a chart. Every time you buy a stock, you can understand you're buying a piece of a business. Treat it like as if you would buy a new car. Because what do you do when you buy a new car? You won't go into the showroom and just look at it. Oh, I like the red color, nice. Okay, I'll buy. Doesn't make sense, right? Most people, they are going to Google the heck out of that car. What are the specs? They are going to watch YouTube videos to see how is it like, what's the interior like. This is how you should treat a stock. Because most people, the way they buy a stock is like what I mentioned just now. Because I've seen investors, you know how they buy a stock in Singapore? Oh, that stock, it has the name Singapore word on it. That's why I bought it. even if the stock is something like Singapore toilet bowl. Singapore, I'll buy. So is the company profitable? I guess, since it has the Singapore name on it, for sure it is profitable. If you look at the financial statements, ain't nobody got time for that. Which comes to my next point. Don't chase hype, quick wins, big returns. When people promise you big returns, let's say somebody come knock on your door. Hi, I got this investment scheme, generate you 20% a week. I'm better than Warren Buffett. Invest with me. Run as fast as possible. Look at all the investment scams. They are going around, not only in Singapore, but in Malaysia, but other countries too. All of them have one thing in common. They all promise high, super high returns. Unrealistic returns. So Warren Buffett earns 20 to 30% per year, and you can generate 20% a week. Pig butchering is so common now. Not only do they deal with crypto, which is quite common, they are all playing with your emotions. They play on the fact that you are so lonely. So they go onto these dating apps, play on your emotions, build your trust. Once you've fallen in love with them, okay, they go for the catch. Then one day they're gonna wake up and be like, hey, by the way, I'm investing in this scheme. Do you want to invest too? It's like, I'm dating you, then all of a sudden you talk about crypto investing. That's a red flag. And yet still a lot of people fall into scams on dating apps. And then they are going to direct you to Telegram, WhatsApp, which is where most, if not all, scammers exist. Just go to Telegram, look at all the Karen Fu fake profiles. None of those are mine. Then you know, oh, Telegram is the main place where people scam people. And the last thing, okay, which is what I do every single day, is to keep learning, you know. Keep learning, you know. I've been in this industry for more than 10 years, okay? You probably have seen me around in Singapore doing talks. A lot of the other trading gurus I know, they still read books every single month. Some of them even purposely go for a university course that teaches investing. And you're not willing to put in like $200 to buy a book. Nowadays with SkillsFuture, a lot of times you don't even need to pay for a course. You don't realize how lucky you are. You don't realize how lucky you are. Continuously improve on your investing skills. Even nowadays, Warren Buffett reads at least 6 hours a day. Think about this. If you're in his position, you're this billionaire. In your 90s, you could retire. You could be spending your days sitting on a beach in Maldives, relaxing, but he's still hustling every single day. Be patient, stay disciplined, do what other investors are not willing to do. And then you get to the top 10%. I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.